Palworld works like many creature battle games that have come before it. Each pal has one or two types from the 9 types in the game: water, fire, grass, ground, electric, ice, dragon, dark, or neutral. And each of these 9 types have an elemental type they're strong against and weak against, except for the special case of fire, which has 2 types it is strong against and only 1 it is weak against. But when using the correct elemental typed attack against a pal that it is strong against, it'll do extra damage, and using a move that is weak against will resist some of the damage. The type effectiveness chart is found in the survival manual and breaks down like this at a basic level. Water beats fire, fire beats ice and grass, grass beats ground, ground beats electric, electric beats water, ice beats dragon, dragon beats dark, dark beats neutral. And neutral doesn't have anything that it gains extra damage against and only resists itself. But also each type resists the type that it's super effective against. So water resists fire, fire resists ice and grass, grass resists ground, etc. Every type also resists itself like neutral types, so water types don't take that much damage against other water attacks. The last bonus is based on elemental typing, and if an attack matches the type of the pal using it, the attack gains additional bonus damage that will also stack with the bonus damage from the elemental type super effectiveness. This is called the same type attack bonus, or S.T.A.B. For example, if a Bushi used a fire attack, it would gain extra damage before the game checks for elemental weaknesses or resistances, but not if Bushi used a water attack or any other elemental type attack. However, continuing the example, if Bushi used a water attack against another fire type, Bushi would not get stab damage boost, but would receive the damage boost because fire is weak against water and Bushi is using a water type attack. All that is dandy when it's just a pure 1 type versus a pure 1 type, but roughly half the pals in the game have 2 typings instead of 1, which is where things get tricky. An example up front would be Jormuntide Ignis. Normally dragon is weak against ice, but because Jormuntide Ignis is part fire and part dragon, the ice weakness and fire resistance of those 2 types cancel out. So instead of taking extra damage from ice like a normal dragon pal would, Jormuntide Ignis instead takes the standard base amount without any elemental damage type modifiers. Another quick example would be Warsect, which is a grass ground type. Because grass resists itself and ground is weak against grass, the 2 cancel each other out and it would only take normal damage from a grass attack. Our last example though would be Relaxosaurus, who is a water dragon. This means it's weak against ice and electric types, but also strong against fire and dark types. This is an example where the 2 type pals don't gain any benefit from complementing types, but instead have a wider variety of enemies that they're strong against, but as a downside also have a wider variety of enemies they are weak against. Plus having the usual bonus of having more stab options available because it is a pal with 2 types. But hopefully you can see 2 type pals really change the otherwise simple type effectiveness chart on its head from just these 3 examples. This is why Palworld's elemental type system seems simple on the surface when you compare a single type to a single type, but once you introduce dual types to the equation, everything quickly turns the general rules upside down and adds a nice additional layer of strategy to the game, adding longevity to it. We hope after this guide the type advantage chart is a little bit more clear, or potentially way more clear, hopefully, beyond the initial explanation provided in the survival guide in-game. Thanks for tuning in, and have a good night.